Hey guys, it's Theater Thursday, and I'm Hannah, and I'm here with Chubs, and we're gonna do a movie review for you guys. Okay,
That's right.
we're gonna do the Sacrament, and do you want to start off?
I'll give a little info. This is written and directed by Ty West, House of the Devil, and such fame. Came out in 2016, and it's basically a retelling of the Jim Jones story. They have a different setting, a different time. They don't really give any years in the movie, but it's absolutely the same story. Um, One fun fact off the bat, they call it Eden Parish in the movie, and I believe the whole thing is they reset it to Louisiana because here in Louisiana we don't have counties, we have parishes. So they always say we're going to Eden Parish or in the parish, and that's what we use down here. So I believe it was set up to be in Louisiana, but in real life they went to South America. So just a fun fact.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't know all that.
Because yeah, they don't give out like the year or the dates. They just throw up times, like it's 9:07 a.m. or something like that, and they just say the name of the place and they show up there. But a lot of the info has been changed around. Like they only call him the father. They don't use any real names. And I think that's good. You know, it's set up as a found footage documentary style movie where two people escape the whole thing and we get the camera footage. So I think that works better than some found footages out there.
It's
But
actually a Vice documentary too. Vice is like they work for
right,
HBO.
yeah, in the movie they work for Vice, which I think is still around. But
Hmm.
um, that made it interesting, and that's the only tie really to like a time period because like they don't show any like cars. They have like one helicopter, and it's a military helicopter, and but everything else they got pretty accurate. Just the names and places have been changed. So, uh, and for anybody who might want to go see this off the bat, if you're squeamish or you don't like to watch people, even in movies, be hurt, this is, and this isn't like torture porn like Saw or Hostel, because this happened in real life and they get pretty dark at the end, but we'll get to that. But off the bat, I want to warn people if you can. I was very squeamish at it because you don't want to see people being hurt. At least I don't. So it could be rough to watch, but you want to see in the mind of what was going on at that time. Something good to watch. So that's my first initial thoughts.
Well, also like the way they set it up, it felt like real and legit because I've watched a lot of documentaries on Vice and I've watched a lot of documentaries about cults and about different types of like groups of people and it just had a really real feel to it. And I liked that. I liked how like the camera angles were and stuff. It felt like legit to me.
Yeah,
Um
you could cut off the beginning and end credits, and you wouldn't know it's a movie if you just kind of stumbled upon it.
yeah, like it really did feel like a documentary and stuff. And it was obviously based on Jim Jones cult. Like obviously, I mean, it just had so many similarities, but it was more like a modern day, like because Vice is like only been around for like 10 years or something, So it's
Right.
obviously supposed to be set in like our time, but it was like the father he's basically like Jim Jones in a lot of ways. He's very manipulative and very controlling, but and very persuasive. People believe everything he says.
Well, a little backstory for him. In real life, Jim Jones, I believe he started either in Illinois or Ohio, and he called it the People's Church. And he went to San Francisco, and the government kept following him because they knew something was shady, and he was on drugs and sold some. but he was really good at putting on a front and going in front of people and being a good preacher. And one thing is, and he got really popular, and it was like the 50s to the 60s, and in his church they would let anybody in, so blacks could sit with whites and interracial couples and even homosexuals, and that brought more people in to show like we don't care who you are, anybody's family with us, and that's how the brainwashing started. And then when he got so paranoid, he took them all to Guyana, which is in South America, in the middle of nowhere.
Well, the thing about Jim Jones is he was actually really nice to people at first. He did
Mm-hmm.
awesome things for them. They really believed in him. He helped out a lot of poor people. He seemed like a good guy, at first. That's what makes it even worse because, like
Yeah.
you said, that's like where the brainwashing comes in, is like somebody that's so kind and open minded, and then, it's all about control and power.
Yeah, he didn't start off trying to brainwash people. He took a
Slow.
while and got to know you and brought people in, and then he didn't like only a select few people actually knew what he was really doing, and then nobody else really knew. But in the movie, like the documentarians go because they're taking a guy who's going to look for his sister, and in real life they did blow up because but I think it was the other way around where a sister was looking for a brother, but a relative wanted to find out where they were, and that's what brought the first incident of people over there. And then the movie doesn't address this, but in real life, a governor went there, and that's the people that there's real footage of them executing them before they could get on their plane to leave, and
Mhm.
then they knew people were going to come for them, and we'll get to the end later. But they didn't show the governor part, but the first part is based on real life, where family started to say, "We want to know where our son or daughter or whatever," and so some camera people and one of the relatives went, and that's where the movie is. The movie you're following like the camera guy, the guy who's doing the interview, and then the relative, which I can't remember if he was part of their group working, but that's that's who you're following throughout the movie.
Are we doing spoilers or anything? Or
Same thing like last time. Like we'll wait till halfway, and then. But
okay,
I have a feeling most people know who it is. So, but we'll keep it on track, like
yeah.
and then we'll spoil it later. But no, that's a good like starting point. Like you have the documentarian people, they get involved, they go over there, and at first everybody's nice, nobody has anything wrong to say, and then just like in real life, but it happened to the governor I was talking about, where the governor's aide got a note from one of the people living there, and it just said, "Please help us," and
Mhm.
that's when they're like, oh, okay, things are not what they're supposed to be. So that's how they started to know that, and they say it in the movie, like all the people we talked to say everything's great, and they said they wanted you. That's the people he wanted you to meet. So everything was a setup from the get go.
Mhm. Yeah. Are we still talking about Jim Jones? Or I mean, it basically feels like it's the same
Well,
story.
that's the movie is about him. I mean,
I mean,
you
it just
follow you follow the documentarian people, but it's about the incident with the people's I'll say the people's church because that's what he called it, and the name of the place was something else in real life, but just for the sake of what we're talking about, I'm going to call him Jim Jones. They call him the father in the movie. They never
mhm.
say a name, but in real life they call him the father. But it's supposed to be Jim Jones, and wasn't it played by like a relative of his named something Jones?
Is it his relative? It's Gene Jones.
Right. I thought I didn't get a chance to look it up too much on the person, but I thought that it's weird if not. Like that's
Yeah, I
big
thought that was
coincidence.
kind of yeah. That is a coincidence. His name is Gene Jones. And he did a really outstanding job
Oh yeah.
playing that character. He was pretty amazing. and he was just like he had an answer for everything. He's pretty sharp. Um,
Hmm.
it showed like a really intelligent person that can control a lot of
Oh
people.
yeah, in real life, Jim Jones was pretty smart. Like, to do what he did though, like he had to be like he knew how to cover all the corners. He could guess what people were going to ask and how to answer it and get around it. And but like he also was one of those people where he was smart, but he couldn't handle like talking to people face to face. He could handle talking to a big group. Like you see in the movie, he's talking to all his people, but he keeps looking at the people and not the guy interviewing. To
Hmm.
me, that's kind of a nod to real life. Jim Jones had trouble talking to one person. He could talk to hundreds, but no, when he was interviewed, like, and this footage of the real interview, there's footage of almost everything, but again, it's squeamish. But yeah,
Hmm.
he was super smart, but he had trouble like really interacting one on one, and that's where the drugs came in. He would use methamphetamines to stay up, get more active, and but it also
Hmm.
made him more crazy. So.
Yeah, exactly. But uh, he didn't know how to handle the pressure either because they ran out of food. They were running out of stuff, and he basically told everybody this is like the only way. Like, and all these people had faith in him, so a lot of people just went along with what he said. They're like, well, this is the answer to our prayers. We got to do what he says. Like, there's no other choice. And anybody that did try to leave, they got
Mm.
killed for it. So, you couldn't leave. You're like trapped.
Okay. We're about almost 14, 15 minutes in, so we're gonna jump to spoilers because there's no more we can tell without spoiling it. So this is your spoiler warning if you're listening. Now in real life and in the movie, there was a small, like there was like 900 people there, I think, in the end, and only maybe 10 really tried to get out. And the reporters, I say reporters or documentarians, like they were on such a small helicopter, they couldn't bring many people with them. And like then the next morning, there was a large group of people wanted to leave, and that's what the inciting incident to where Jim Jones, the father, was is like, okay, because if anybody leaves, it's going to get out what's going on. And now he would tell them because he was super paranoid about the government because he would say stuff like they're going to come dropping bombs and with machine guns and crazy stuff like that. So, but you had the first small group of people who were just like, you need to get us out of here. And in real life, the governor had a private jet, so you weren't going to fit too many people on it. So that's when things go really south.
Hmm. Well, it was like the guys just kind of. I feel like they always knew there's something not right. I mean, because it's a cult, obviously. They're doing a documentary about a cult, and it's like cults are usually pretty messed up. Like I've never seen like a good cult. Um, and then things just like they saw more sinister stuff. They started poking around, and I think the father kind of, he didn't like that. I feel
Well,
like,
the first thing they see is people with guns.
yeah.
And that happened in real life where they're like, why do you need people with guns? And they're like, well, because there's a lot of people who don't like what we're doing. And he never told them what that was. But yeah, what kind of cult need? And it was a hired militia from where they were at in South America. It wasn't even part of their group. But yeah, you had guys with AK-47. So it's like, oh. And that was the tip off. And then, like, the guy whose sister was there, like, she acted completely different. And now in one of the scenes, they say that she's like, yeah, they took Pat, her brother, whatever, and two girls were gonna have the night with him, and then she's on drugs. And most of the stories I've ever seen about it, where Jim Jones is really hard on drugs, so I think they added their own little spin here and there to make it more interesting and change it up a little. But at the end, they show him sniffing something. So they make it clear like he was on something. So, and I think it was meth and coke in real life. So there, it was just a big straw. So Like it could have been anything.
Yeah, he was obviously on something. Like he's a
Well,
yeah.
I like the fact that they don't give out such specific information because that would have taken another 40 minutes of the movie to make. Like what's going on? Okay, this and let's move on. And then like they don't give you everybody in the compound's name or what drugs he's on or like they find the safe is open in the movie and they find like the box of people's passports, but they got to move because somebody's coming. I like that because you didn't drag it down with too much info. It's like, okay, something's wrong. We got to go. But they, in the end, they could have told a little bit more. But I think we all get the point when it's, any kind of cult, in this case, a religious cult made by him. And so that's just a point I wanted to bring up. Like, and they kind of just got to it instead of
Mm-hmm.
dragging every little bit of info out.
Well, there was some unrealistic stuff too. Like like they would just be filming everything, like just some stuff that like basically you'd be like, screw this, I gotta get out of here. Like you wouldn't probably care about your camera and stuff. There's a couple of things like that too. Um, but it's a movie, so you gotta see
Well,
everything.
in real life, and the footage is out there, when the governor went to leave, the footage, the camera is on, and they're talking, and they get shot. And in the movie, it's the camera crew trying to leave. They just changed it, but in real
Hmm.
life, he's filming, and then the camera just hits the ground sideways, and you see the legs come up of the people working for the father. So that, yes, and then like you're saying, no, when he's running through the woods and he's still
Hmm.
got the camera on, but that's the fate of the fault of almost all found footage, where it's like, why would you carry the camera everywhere? You're fighting for your life, so you're right.
Yeah. I mean,
But
it's
that,
whatever.
but that's what leads to the giant finale. Now they know that once these people don't come back, everybody who is looking for them is going to come, and that's just going to be the end of it all. So their plan is they made giant vats of cyanide laced. Now it's funny we use the expression "don't drink the Kool-Aid" because of this incident. Fun fact: it was Flavor Aid, not Kool-Aid, used in the real event. But um, they made a
Really?
big batch. Yeah, like the Kool-Aid thing stuck because it's the most famous drink like that. But it was actually Flavor Aid, but I
How
don't
did
think it
they get
matters.
cyanide though?
I believe apples, because apple seeds contain cyanide.
Yeah, but like tiny amounts. Like apples
Oh,
only have a
I
tiny.
don't. Well, because they were farmers, they
So they.
might have groves of it. Then again, they snuck like they bring up that they go to the hospital at their place, and she's like, "We have some medicine, so we can cover some situations." So I guess they were bringing in certain medicines. Like I know cyanide was used in the punch, but they also had a whole thing of hypodermic needles. Unfortunately, that's what they used on the children.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you're right. I'd like to know where they got so much of it from, but they could have stolen anything, I guess, being out there in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Who knows? I
Well, he
mean,
got drugs, so
it's eerie. I mean, there is like recordings and stuff of like the whole event where you could basically just
mm. The
hear the.
most heart. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can talk.
Well, the most heartbreaking is it's a real audio tape of him, and they show it in the movie where he finally gets everybody together, and he's like, "We have to do this because they're never going to leave us alone." And you hear one woman say, "Well, there's got to be another way. Look at all the children," and he goes into his big speech, and there's audio tape of almost all of it, and I can barely listen to it because once you hear like there's kids crying in the background, and he says, "Well, we've already started with some of the children over in the East Wing or whatever," but there are people who literally, and that's the thing, everybody considers it a mass suicide, and that wasn't the case. There was armed. All the people with the AK-47s made it clear, like, you drink it or we're gonna take you out. And they had to shoot a lot of people too. So,
Mhm.
like, some people probably did it because he said it, but it's a known fact that people who did survive it, and I think 10 or 15 people lived to tell the tale. Like, they put guns to their heads and like, drink or be shot. So it really wasn't a mass suicide. It was more of like
It's like
a
forced
mass
trauma,
killing.
kind of.
Right.
There are some people
So
willing, but yeah, not everybody wanted to go out like that. It was 900 people, I think, that were
it
dead
was
in a
up
matter
there.
of minutes.
Yeah, there's a famous helicopter shot picture from above after it happened. And it's just bodies on top of bodies, people just falling over each other. The movie gets a little graphic with people having seizures and foaming at the mouth. Now, I don't know what really happens, but it was supposedly it wouldn't be that long, and I had to actually fast forward a little because they were getting too much of like people like flipping out. I'm like, oh, just die, come on! Like, it's super sad and broke my heart. So hard to watch.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's like how it is. So, like, when people take cyanide, you're basically suffocating,
Right?
and it's supposed to be a horrible way to die. I'd probably rather be shot. So it was like, just shoot me, get it over with. I'm not
Yeah.
drinking that shit.
What's funny, the German army in World War II, most of them had cyanide capsules in the back of their mouth, and they would crack it with their teeth instead of being captured. But it was such a potent dose. They say most of them just, it was almost instant. But this was, they didn't know how to mix it properly. They were just pouring it in Kool-Aid, excuse me, Flavor Aid, and
Flavor Aid. What is
it,
Flavor Aid? Do they not make that no
it's
more?
just, yeah, they do. It's just a different brand
I've never
instead of
heard of that.
Kool-Aid, and it looks and tastes the same.
Is it a
But
knockoff?
yeah, it's just an
Oh,
off brand. You have Kool-Aid, and then a little, 50 cents less than that is Flavor Aid. But somebody used the term "don't drink the Kool-Aid," and it stuck. But it wasn't Kool-Aid. But Kool-Aid didn't take any damage. They're still around. So, but yeah, they didn't know how to mix it, and they were just kind of winging it. So that's probably why there was probably actually real convulsions and seizures. And but some people died instantly and some did not, and some had to be injected and some had to be shot. But overall, it was just a show of how bad things can go when unchecked. And but then again, how do you check something like that where they left the country and
mm-hmm.
people followed them, and like, before any of this, they sold all their belongings, and they bring that up in the movie. Like, why would you sell all your stuff? It's like, oh, well, I'm free when I'm here. But in reality, um, the people who lived would say, like, they worked 16-hour days on their hands and knees. To, like, in the movie, they say, like, well, we worked really hard to build the buildings first. And I think that's their nod to that, where, like, in real life, he worked those people almost to death. So,
Mm-hmm. And it's
which is,
still just, it was like too hard for them to manage. It's just too much work, you know. Because they were trying to build like their own, what do they call it? Jonestown, or was it?
it
Is
was,
that what's
it
called?
was Jonestown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jonestown. So, I mean, they were trying to make their own little town, and that didn't work out.
Yeah, they built a couple bungalows or cabins, whatever you want to call them. The main pavilion where it looked like an open church, if you will, his residence, and then farmland. And they were trying to grow their own food. And I forgot how long they were there, but it wasn't too long. But they didn't really make it. Like, they weren't, they because he would prey on anybody to go with him. So you would have a doctor and a lawyer and an electrician. None of them are farmers. So you get some things right, but like growing food didn't work out. So
Hmm. Well, I mean, he just took advantage of a lot of people that are suffering and struggling, and it is unfortunate that a lot of children had to be there. Um, but it was
the
like people like,
elderly,
yeah, the elderly. It was like people that like were poor, and like they can really take care of themselves. So he promised them a better life, and that's what ended up happening. So You can't
And
really put your faith in people sometimes.
I think it's sad because like he wasn't even in it for the money because like he had money, but there was nothing to use it on where he went. There's nothing to do. Like he couldn't use it. He didn't use it for anything. So he would just make these people poor to keep them down because anybody who's heard of how to control people, you break them down mentally and physically, and then that's how you keep your control over them. So he made them sell everything, and then did the whole he turned religion on its head where like if you don't do what I say then you're sinning and took it to the extreme and but there still was a group of people who realized it wasn't right and they didn't only a handful made it so there is a really good documentary and I think it's just called Jonestown and they have like five of the survivors from I think they were kids maybe or even teenagers because this happened in the 70s. So, um, and they give a good account, and that's why I know the movie did a decent job of representing the whole event. It's kind of like, because the whole thing in real life, Jim Jones did his whole thing over decades. So this took like the last like a couple days of what happened in his life to show the grand finale of if I say mass suicide again, that's not what it was, but that's what everybody calls it. But
Yeah.
if you're if you're at gunpoint, you're not trying to commit suicide. You're forced to. So I don't know what the name for that would be, but yeah, look if anyone wants to watch this movie and then look at more, it's called Jonestown, and that's what they called it. That was his place, People's Church.
How many survivors were there? Do you know?
It's on the low side. It's only like 5, 10, maybe at the most.
Really? So that's the only amount they could get away from it? Or were some
Yeah,
of them did some of the people leave before, like months before or something? Or
Yeah, they don't address it in the movie, but I know in real life there was like 5 or 6 people he let go then before the governor showed up, and that was the point where he said, "Okay, well, now that they're gone," and then he killed the governor. He's like, "Well, now they're definitely going to send people. It's better we take our own life than they come and shoot missiles at us and all that crazy stuff." But yeah, so a couple people left, but it was only like five at the most. I think there was 15 survivors. So out of 900, it's not your odds weren't that good.
mm-mm. It don't sound like it. How many people died in Heaven's Gate? It was like a lower number.
That yeah, Heaven's Gate was like 19. I mean, it was really low.
Yeah, that was a weird
But
one.
we could do a show on cults. The Davidians and
Talk about cults. Do people
no,
think that's disrespectful or something, or is that okay to talk
I,
about?
I think it depends how you present it. Like we're talking about a movie right now, but if we were to do a
Yeah,
show on cults and just bring up the ones, say their names, say what happened, that could help alert people to like watch what to look for when they're in the real world. And it
yeah,
might not happen to them, but if you have a friend who says, I met so and so and they have a great group, I'm going to do that, it could help. We present it as an information, not,
yeah. I want
you
to
know,
be respectful of people that lost
right.
their lives.
Oh no, I think of it as trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. We're not making fun of it,
No, I'm just saying I don't want to. I want to be like
right?
respectful and everything.
Well, look at the movie. Ty West did a really good job of being like, this is what happened. We're going to show it from found footage point of view, from the point of view of these 2 or 3 reporters. And he didn't bring up the governor thing, but like he got it pretty accurate, and he changed the location and didn't use the names. But I think everybody who knows about this or looks it up later is like, okay, he's talking about Jim Jones, but they never call him that. And again, they say parish, so it looks like they filmed here or were supposed to be here in Louisiana because instead of counties, we have parishes. So that's the only connect. It only makes sense that way because
Um,
they didn't
Could be.
say South America.
Um, I think with like the real Jim Jones stuff, like if they did, they could even do a TV series because of there's so much to break down. Um, they could even like I mean, I could see like Hulu doing something like that.
They
Showing
should.
you the manipulation and stuff. Because they did a really awesome show on Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and
Yeah.
I think that was pretty good. And they showed like how her mom was just like so manipulative and like Um, I think they should make some stuff on that. Like, they should do a Jim Jones one. I think it would
Yeah,
be pretty good.
the documentaries I've seen on Jim Jones are like the length of a movie. And they're
Yeah,
great to get the info, but no, they need to do like the Ted Bundy with Zac Efron thing. Like that
yeah,
was a
that's what
good
I'm
way.
saying. They should
But
do a series.
wasn't that a movie?
I'm talking about they should do a series because like they could
What was
play
I'm
out so
saying?
much stuff.
That one in particular with Zac Efron was a movie, but I
Hmm.
like your idea. Like make it a 10-part show where you can show the decades and how it came about. So Netflix, if you're watching, call us up and we'll write this for you.
You want us to write it?
Well, or we'll sponsor it. How about that?
Yeah, we'll sponsor it.
Or we'll act in it. You know,
Oh, you want us to be some of the cult members?
we can be anybody. I was in a movie once. We'll run with it. It's no biggie.
All right. So,
Man, go
what?
ahead.
Um. So, what do you think? Do you think we got any more to break down, or
No, we're at the we're
ready
past
to
the
go
30
next?
minute mark, which was perfect for last time. So we can just inform people of what's up next with us if you want.
Well, wait. Are you talking about Saturday?
Yeah,
Well, how? But it's Saturday this week, and this show's gonna go all next week.
that's
So
true.
they're already gonna see it. So spoiler alert.
I hope we mentioned it last week then.
Well, I'm gonna make a video anyways. I always promote it, so I'll do
Well,
that. But this was a pretty good movie. I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's really interesting, and I think all the actors did a outstanding performance.
yeah, everybody was believable. Nobody was off the like. I would say the sister was a little too much at times, but
I
she
think
did
she
light
did
herself
really
on
good.
fire. So
I think she did really good.
for the most part, but when she was like when she had to execute her brother, like I don't know, weird to me, I guess. She was making weird poses and then she lit herself on fire. She was acting completely crazy. But I guess you would if you were lighting yourself
Yeah, it's like
on
three
fire.
thumbs aren't Christian.
Yeah. But no, yeah, great actors and Ty West knocked it out the park. So
So,
we
how many stars you give it?
I would give the Sacrament, I would say 6.5.
6.5. You
Yeah,
gave The Forest like a six, and it was like that movie was not that good.
well, that's your rating. I think with this,
All right.
if they would have added a little bit more to it, I'd rank it higher because maybe because I know a lot about it, like they left out some key points, but you don't need it. Like you can watch it
Well, they
without
got to
that.
do
But
the series we talked about. They got to
wait,
do this.
what?
They have to do the series we talked about.
Right, right. That'd be different. But for the movie, 6.5 for me.
Well, I'm gonna give it an 8.5 because I think
Okay.
it was really good. I think a series would probably be better,
Yeah.
but I think it was good. I liked it.
Look at that. We give it high marks. So
Yeah, so we recommend this movie, y'all. If you like stuff that's kind of spooky, kind of creepy, but it's kind of based on reality, go watch it. Sacrament, y'all.
that's right. Ty West 2016 it came out and it's now currently I saw it on Tubi.
Tubi. What's Tubi?
Yeah. It's like Hulu. It's just
Really?
another yeah, because when you go on like when you Google a movie, it usually tells you what platforms it's on.
Oh, I
And
don't have Tubi.
Like it not many. There is stuff on it, but for this occasion, it wasn't on it. You had to pay for it in some spots, but it said Tubi. If you're subscribed, it's free. So I got to see. There are commercials, but I saw it for free.
Oh, I mean, Hulu's got commercials too, though. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. Um, but yeah, we recommend this movie, y'all. It was
And
it was a lot better than The Forest, but I still think if you guys want to watch it, go for it.
oh, it was. I would say it's better. Like there was no boring parts. The Forest had its boring parts. So this will keep you watching because it doesn't slow down too much at any points in time. So.
Yeah, we're also gonna be doing all kinds of other movies, so you guys better keep watching.
Oh yeah, stay tuned because I have a couple I have on deck that I'm going to be talking to Miss Hannah behind the scenes about. So stay tuned. You don't know what surprises we have in store.
Yeah, you never know. All right, all right. I'm gonna try to do. Hold on. Try to make sure I do this right.